Thanks for joining us. We start in Gaza, where Israeli strikes are once again targeting civilians in every corner of the Strip. It's been more than 7 months of unrelenting bombardment. And just a short while ago, the main UN agency for Palestinian refugees, UNRWA, said it was suspending food distribution because of security concerns. UNRWA says it has also run out of supplies to replenish its warehouses because food hasn't entered the Strip. More than half of the population of Gaza depends on food aid from UNRWA. Well, let's get the very latest with Hind al-Khoudary, who's in Deir el-Balah in central Gaza. And Hind, UNRWA, as we mentioned there, citing security concerns and a lack of supplies for this decision to cease aid to Rafah. But what does that mean for the population there?
Well, it means that the situation is going to be more catastrophic. We're talking about more than half the population of the Gaza Strip that completely rely on food distributions from UNRWA. UNRWA released that they will suspend their food distribution due to the lack of supplies and security. But let me explain this. We're talking about more than 1 million Palestinians who were seeking refuge in Rafah. Now they have been displaced for more than a couple of times. They moved to Khan Yunis and to the middle area, and they do not have any type of food assistance. The prices in the Gaza Strip are very high, where people have not been working for more than 7 months right now. They spent all their savings, and the only way they're relying on food and getting food and feeding their children is UNRWA and other aid organizations. But this was expected, especially that for more than 2 weeks now, nothing is being entering from Karam Abu Salim and the Rafah crossing, where all of the commodities, the food commodities and the fuel are not entering, and this is leading for a very dire situation in the Gaza Strip.
All right, Hind al-Khoudary speaking to us from Deir el-Balah. Thank you. Scott Anderson is Director of UNRWA Affairs in Gaza, and he joins us from Rafah itself. A very warm welcome to you. So first of all, please can you explain to us what underscores this decision not to operate in Rafah, given how dependent so many people are on your help?
Well, first, thank you for having me on this evening. And secondly, our health centers in Rafah camp were both impacted by the operation and the evacuation orders. So we have 2 health centers, Shabura and Rafah Camp Health Center. Both those, unfortunately, were in the evacuation zone, which is a significant security risk staff, but also for anyone that would be seeking care at those facilities. And as a result, we've had to suspend operations. This is the combat's exacerbated by the fact that we're having significant supply issues in terms of getting enough food, medicine, and other things in to sustain the operation.
What conditions would need to be met for you to continue operating again?
I mean, I think that we need a cessation of combat, ideally. I mean, we need to have a safe environment so our staff can operate safe. People, the innocent civilians that we treat, can seek treatment safely. So what we need is an end to the current operation. We need the supply open. Ideally, we would have 350 trucks a day at a minimum just in population of Gaza if they all had the right cargo at the right time. We're near that now. We're less than 200 trucks a day coming in for bringing in the aid that everyone so desperately needs.
There are a few glitches on the line, but we can mostly hear you, so we will persist, Mr. Anderson. Let me ask you this, because the UNRWA chief, Philippe Lazzarini, recently spoke about physical violence faced by UNRWA workers operating across the Palestinian territories. Can you give us a sense of what that looks like?
I mean, it's exactly that. It's just many forms. There's violence from people that are seeking food. There's violence that results from the current conflict between Israel and Hamas. And it's very much just people being trapped in a very small space with nowhere to go to seek safety. And it's unfortunate. Many of our staff have died during this conflict, and they're acting quite heroic every day to continue to deliver services to the people that are here.
I wanted to get your response to the effectiveness of this pier or pontoon that the Americans have built just not far from Gaza City. The aim is to bring in, obviously, aid, much-needed aid to the Gaza Strip from sea, although it seems to fall significantly short of what's really needed in total across the Strip. How effective do you think that is as a source of aid?
First, I would say we welcome any openings that bring more aid into Gaza. And the UN has called for a long time. And, as long as this is additive and not meant to be a replacement for other crossings, it's very much welcome. For a few days, so to really gauge its efficiency and effectiveness is going to take a little bit more time. But what I would agree with you that you said is we need in Gaza. And be that through the port, be through the pier, or through the crossing in the north, or primarily through Kerem Shalom, we welcome anything coming in through any of those crossings, but it needs to be at a scale that's sufficient to sustain the needs of the people in Gaza.
All right, Scott Anderson, Senior Deputy Director of UNRWA Affairs, speaking to us from Rafah. Many thanks for joining us on Al Jazeera.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.